This is an unenforceable clause under the Residential Tenancies Act. A landlord can, in their marketing for the rental suite, say that they would prefer no pets, but once you're in the space, it is your right to bring a pet into that space. You may be held responsible for any pet-related damage, so keep that in mind. When you're moving into a condo, the condo board can have a rule, or a bylaw rather, that says no pets in the condo. You do have to adhere to that. You cannot bring a pet in after the fact. If you do, that condo can actually terminate your tenancy. So when you're not in a condo space, the no pet provision when you're in the unit is unenforceable. When you're in a condo, the condo bylaws can enforce that. The damage deposit is illegal. A landlord cannot require you to pay any kind of a damage deposit. The only deposit that they can ask for is first and last month rent and potentially a key or fob deposit. That's also an illegal one. They cannot charge you a late charge for rent. A landlord cannot police who you're having into your unit and how long they're staying over. You're allowed to have guests in a suite that you're paying for. The only sort of caveat there is if the number of guests that you're bringing in exceeds the occupancy load of the space or contravenes the fire code, then you're in an area where they can mandate how many people you have in the space, of course, because at that point it just becomes dangerous. This one is a bit tricky because if the landlord is bringing air conditioning into the suite that wasn't there when you began your tenancy, they are adding in a feature and something that's going to improve your enjoyment of the space. They cannot just arbitrarily raise your rent by any amount above the guideline, unless the property is exempt from guideline increases, without applying to the board for an above guideline increase. Now, if they have genuinely added to the quality of your tenancy, it may be in your best interest just from an interpersonal perspective to maintain that relationship and negotiate. And if you believe that what they're charging you for that added service is fair, then I would encourage you to negotiate that, agree to that, and improve the relationship with you and your landlord, or maintain the relationship with you and your landlord. So it's tricky. It's not an automatic yes or no. It's sort of a gray space. What I wouldn't want to see is a landlord saying, oh, I brought in air conditioning, I'm now going to raise your rent by $200, $300, some exorbitant amount of money that doesn't really make sense or align with the added value. So be aware of that, but I would be open to negotiating based on adding of new features. A landlord can't demand that you pay 12 postage checks all at once. They also can't demand that you pay by check. You could pay by online e-transfer. You can pay by check if you'd like. You can pay them monthly. You can really do whatever you're comfortable doing as long as your rent is paid in full and on time. There is compensation required. If the building that you're in has at least 5 units, so 5 or more, you're entitled to up to 3 months of compensation and 120 days notice. If it's a duplex or a triplex or a single family space, it's 120 days notice and 1 month's compensation. So either way, there's a compensation piece that's there, and that is compensation for your inconvenience and for having to leave the space for the purpose of those renovations.